Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
The speech act of answering an attack on your assertions. Sports. The team that is trying to prevent the other team from scoring. The defendant and his legal advisors collectively. A defendant's answer or plea denying the truth of the charges against him. A structure used to defend against attack. The justification for some act or belief. The act of defending someone or something against attack or injury. An organization of defenders that provides resistance against attack. Military action or resources protecting a country against potential enemies. Psychiatry, an unconscious process that tries to reduce the anxiety associated with instinctive desires. Protection from harm. The speech act of answering an attack on your assertions. In defense, he said the other man started it. Sports. The team that is trying to prevent the other team from scoring. His teams are always good on defense. The defendant and his legal advisors collectively. The defense called for a mistrial. A defendant's answer or plea denying the truth of the charges against him. He gave evidence for the defense. A structure used to defend against attack. The artillery battered down the defenses. The justification for some act or belief. He offered a persuasive defense of the theory. The act of defending someone or something against attack or injury. A good boxer needs a good defense. The federal department responsible for safeguarding national security of the United States, created in 1947. An organization of defenders that provides resistance against attack. He joined the defense against invasion. Military action or resources protecting a country against potential enemies. They died in the defense of Stalingrad. Psychiatry, an unconscious process that tries to reduce the anxiety associated with instinctive desires. Protection from harm. Sanitation is the best defense against disease. The speech act of answering an attack on your assertions. His refutation of the charges was short and persuasive. The act of determining that something is false. Any evidence that helps to establish the falsity of something. Sports. The team that is trying to prevent the other team from scoring. The defendant and his legal advisors collectively. The defendant and his legal advisors collectively. A defendant's answer or plea denying the truth of the charges against him. Law. A formal objection to an opponent's pleadings. Law. Any pleading that attacks the legal sufficiency of the opponent's pleadings. Renunciation of your own interests in favor of the interests of others. The act of asserting that something alleged is not true. A defendant's answer or plea denying the truth of the charges against him. Psychiatry. A defense mechanism that denies painful thoughts. The act of refusing to comply, as with a request. It resulted in a complete denial of his privileges. A structure used to defend against attack. The justification for some act or belief. The act of vindicating or defending against criticism or censure, etc. Friends provided a vindication of his position. An organization of defenders that provides resistance against attack. An organization of defenders that provides resistance against attack. Military action or resources protecting a country against potential enemies. Psychiatry, an unconscious process that tries to reduce the anxiety associated with instinctive desires. Psychiatry, an unconscious process that tries to reduce the anxiety associated with instinctive desires. Psychiatry, an unconscious process that tries to reduce the anxiety associated with instinctive desires. Psychiatry, an unconscious process that tries to reduce the anxiety associated with instinctive desires. React verbally. She didn't want to answer. Be sufficient. Be adequate, either in quality or quantity. A few words would answer. A statement that solves a problem or explains how to solve the problem. The answers were in the back of the book. A statement, either spoken or written, that is made to reply to a question or request or criticism or accusation. I waited several days for his answer. Understand the meaning of. The question concerning the meaning of life cannot be answered. A nonverbal reaction. His answer to any problem was to get drunk. Be liable or accountable. She must answer for her actions. Be satisfactory for. Meet the requirements of or serve the purpose of. This may answer her needs. Give a defense or refutation of a charge, or in an argument. The defendant answered to all the charges of the prosecution. Give the correct answer or solution to. Answer a question. Match or correspond. The drawing of the suspect answers to the description the victim gave. React to a stimulus or command. The steering of my new car answers to the slightest touch. Respond to a signal. Answer the door. The principal pleading by the defendant in response to plaintiff's complaint. In criminal law it consists of the defendant's plea of guilty, or not guilty, or nolo contendere. In civil law it must contain denials of all allegations in the plaintiff's complaint that the defendant hopes to controvert, and it can contain affirmative defenses or counterclaims. The speech act of replying to a question. Form a team. We teamed up for this new project. A cooperative unit, especially in sports. Two or more draft animals that work together to pull something. A cooperative unit, especially in sports. A small squad of policemen trained to deal with a particular kind of crime. A smallest army unit. Request for a sum of money. Several things grouped together or considered as a whole. The act of gathering something together. A publication containing a variety of works. Several things grouped together or considered as a whole. The act of gathering something together. A system of components assembled together for a particular purpose. Several things grouped together or considered as a whole. A group of persons together in one place. The social act of assembling. Several things grouped together or considered as a whole. The act of accumulating. An increase by natural growth or addition. Finance. Profits that are not paid out as dividends but are added to the capital base of the corporation. Law. the administration of justice according to established rules and principles, based on the principle that a person cannot be deprived of life or liberty or property without appropriate legal procedures and safeguards. Law, the administration of justice according to established rules and principles, based on the principle that a person cannot be deprived of life or liberty or property without appropriate legal procedures and safeguards. The people in a society considered as a system organized by a characteristic pattern of relationships. Sociologists have studied the changing structure of the family. A particular complex anatomical part of a living thing and its construction and arrangement. He has good bone structure. A thing constructed, a complex entity constructed of many parts. The structure consisted of a series of arches. Give a structure to. I need to structure my days. The complex composition of knowledge as elements and their combinations. His lectures have no structure. The manner of construction of something and the arrangement of its parts. Artists must study the structure of the human body. The commercial activity involved in repairing old structures or constructing new ones. Their main business is home construction. The act of constructing something. During the construction we had to take a detour. An interpretation of a text or action. They put an unsympathetic construction on his conduct. The creation of a construct, the process of combining ideas into a congruous object of thought. A group of words that form a constituent of a sentence and are considered as a single unit. I concluded from his awkward constructions that he was a foreigner. A thing constructed, a complex entity constructed of many parts. She wore her hair in an amazing construction of whorls and ribbons. Drawing a figure satisfying certain conditions as part of solving a problem or proving a theorem. The assignment was to make a construction that could be used in proving the Pythagorean theorem. A statement in explanation of some action or belief. Something, such as a fact or circumstance, that shows an action to be reasonable or necessary. He considered misrule a justification for revolution. The act of defending or explaining or making excuses for by reasoning. The justification of barbarous means by holy ends. Payment extorted by gangsters on threat of violence. Every store in the neighborhood had to pay him protection. A covering that is intended to protect from damage or injury. They had no protection from the fallout. Defense against financial failure, financial independence. Insurance provided protection against loss of wages due to illness. The imposition of duties or quotas on imports in order to protect domestic industry against foreign competition. He made trade protection a plank in the party platform. Kindly endorsement and guidance. The condition of being protected. They were huddled together for protection. The activity of protecting someone or something. The witnesses demanded police protection. The persons, or committees or departments etc., who make up a body for the purpose of administering something. An ordered manner. Orderliness by virtue of being methodical and well organized. His compulsive organization was not an endearing quality. The act of forming or establishing something. He still remembers the organization of the club. The activity or result of distributing or disposing persons or things properly or methodically. His organization of the workforce was very efficient. A group of people who work together. The act of organizing a business or an activity related to a business. He was brought in to supervise the organization of a new department. An organized structure for arranging or classifying. The facts were familiar, but it was in the organization of them that he was original.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.